All right, in this video, I'm going to talk to you about the bad news that the Colts received, and I'm also going to tell you why I honestly think it doesn't matter for your outlook this season, and it might even be helpful for you going beyond that. So before we get into that, remember, this is Sports Talk Extra. If you are not a subscriber yet, we love doing Colts content. We love doing content from NFL teams that are in smaller media markets. You can tell we're Lions fans. Me and Chris, we do this together. But we love the Colts. I don't even know if it's so much that we love the Colts. I do like the Colts. Grew up loving Peyton Manning, but it's more that we love the NFL. We love the little guy. And so let's talk about the Colts, who are kind of surprising the NFL world right now by the way in which they are playing. So let's start with the bad news. Okay. The bad news is this. Colts starting quarterback Anthony Richardson, good rookie, probably so far the at least second best rookie quarterback that has been drafted, received the initial diagnosis of a grade 3 AC joint sprain that is expected to keep him out for a month or more. This is an injury that could take some time. It simply is. I don't know how else to put it. I'm not happy to say it to anybody, but this is an injury that I think could just simply take some time. And you don't have, I don't know exactly when your bye week is, but what I do know is that it's not for another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5, 6 weeks. So he might miss the next 5 games. And then he comes back on the 26th, right around Thanksgiving, to play against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So there could be a 5-game absence from Anthony Richardson. He suffered it in the second quarter against the Titans. We know this. Anytime you have a sprain in a key area like that, the shoulder, the knee, something like that, like it's going to keep you out some time because it is a joint and a muscle that carries a heavy, heavy load, especially the right throwing shoulder of a quarterback. So, yes, it is going to keep him out for some time. So, now let's talk about what the Indianapolis Colts have going for them. So, I can explain to you why I'm not sure it necessarily matters that much. So, they played a very similar amount of time. Minshew came in the second quarter, but they were both fairly effective. Anthony Richardson had 100 yards on 12 attempts. Minshew had 155 yards on 14 attempts. Richardson only had a couple carries for 5 yards. The team scored at a similar clip. They had 10 with Richardson in the game and 13 with Minshew. But here's why it doesn't matter. And I'm going to talk about, careful with it doesn't matter. Sorry. I don't want to just give you like, it doesn't matter. That's not true. You want your rookie quarterback to be playing, but for the immediate future, for the next 5 games, I don't think it makes you a worse football team. There were conversations when Gardner Minshew came in of people being like, oh man, Minshew's pretty good. Like, do you let Richardson sit here? I don't think so. No, I don't. Don't turn off the video. You absolutely needed to play Richardson, get him that experience. All right. But Richardson also needs to watch and learn what it looks like to be an NFL quarterback and not get hurt all the time. He needs to learn to slide. He needs to learn when not to tuck the ball and run because he has had a knee injury, he has had a concussion, and now he's had a shoulder sprain in 4 NFL games. Like, that is not a good start. So let's talk about this team and what they have. And I'm going to start with the offensive line. So you start with Raymond and Smith, and I'm just looking at PFF here. Now, it's obvious. I could give you the stats. I could give you 23 carries for 164 yards or 165 yards on the ground for Zach Moss. I can talk to you about how he's been a beast. I can talk to you about how Jonathan Taylor's back. He only got 6 carries, but he's going to continue to get more and more and more. And I would look at that to be a much more even backfield split, so you can make both running backs good players and that they stay hungry enough to be able to, not only hungry enough, but healthy enough to stay there. But what makes these running backs tick is the offensive line. It's the offensive line. And starting with the tackles, PFF rating, you have the 10th and 22nd rated tackle in the league. Now, I always like to talk about this with PFF. If you are a top 64 tackle in the league, according to PFF grading, you are a starting caliber tackle. right? Because 32 teams, 2 tackles on each team, 64. If you are a top 32, you are a top tier starting tackle. The Colts have 2 of them. What about the guard? We all know Quentin Nelson. We know the skills that he has. What about Will Fries? Right? Freeze, however you say it, doesn't matter. 16th and 26th on PFF. 2 top tier starting caliber guards. Great. I'm down with that. What about center? We all know Ryan Kelly's a good center. We all know this. He's always been a good center. Did you know he is the best rated center in the game right now? Did you know that? So you have this offensive line that is producing at an extremely high level, even when there's injuries to one of the tackles. It's okay. They're continuing to produce at a high level. You have a receiving core with Michael Pittman Jr., Downs, and Pierce that is good enough to make a threat. But I've talked about this, and I don't know if I've talked about this on this channel. I've said we're Lions fans. We have a good offensive line. When you have a good to elite offensive line, and I think the Colts had a rough year last year, but outside of that, everybody knows that this is a top 5 offensive line, and they are playing like a top 3 or 2 offensive line right now. When you have a good offensive line, it makes everybody look better. It makes the quarterback look better. It makes the running back look so much better. It makes the wide receivers look better. And you might be like, how does a good offensive line make the wide receivers look better? Another half a second to get open. Another second to get open. Another split second that the running back has to get through the hole. You saw it twice on Zach Moss. I'm gonna talk about 2 touchdown runs. First, you have the long touchdown run. Okay, everybody saw that. There's no yards after contact on that one. It's simply, here's the hole. Is my vision good enough to find it? He found it, and then he had the speed to take it to the house. He was never touched. Then on the short touchdown run that he had, it was a slow run up the middle, and there wasn't a lot of room, but he still didn't get touched, really. He was able to move slowly through, not have anybody take him down because the offensive line stuck on their blocks. You are able to see when Minshew came in the game, there were a lot of deep crossing routes that he was able to hit to the tight end, to Pittman, these 15 to 20 yard long developing routes. You can't do that if you don't have a good offensive line. The offensive line is huge. It's massive. And I haven't even started on the defense yet. I haven't even started about how the defense is doing the exact same thing. That at every position on the defense, nobody's sitting here being like the number 1 or the best at their position, but they're all starting caliber or top half starting caliber players. The corners, all right? Brents, thank you. Welcome to the NFL. You're playing like a starting caliber player. Everybody on this team is playing at a level where there is nobody where you can point at him and be like, that person's terrible. That's the weak spot. And that's why this defense has week after week been able to put up not crazy or they haven't gotten torched. All right. Yeah, they gave up 31 to the Jags in week 1, but then 20 points to the Texans, 19 to the Ravens, 29 to the Rams. That wasn't great. And now 16 to the Titans. Okay, it's a defense that has held its own. So you can expect over the next 5 weeks, even with Gardner as your starting quarterback, you got the Jags, you got the Browns, you got the Saints, you got the Panthers, you got the Patriots. I'm telling you right now, 2-3 is no problem. 3-2 should be the expectation. I think at Jacksonville, that's a tough game next week. Versus Cleveland, it's a toss-up. Versus the Saints, toss-up, advantage to you. It's in your house. Carolina, New England, those are victories. So I understand Richardson's out. I know you want him in, but as far as the success of the team, this is why you went out and you got a good backup quarterback, because you need one to be able to win when your quarterback inevitably misses a couple games during the year, because that's what you have. You have a mobile quarterback who is going to miss some time. Minshew is a solid backup. The team is in good hands. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know it with the comments, and hope you like the channel. Please subscribe if you like watching it for more Colts content and other NFL teams. See you on the next one.